สวัสดีค่ะ and welcome back to At Brain Side here on GBN Station. You are now with me, Konkanong Shitpan. Today we have news update from India and China. Also, we will be recommending you the online 5 Buddhist magazines for you to check out at home. And lastly, we have the announcement of the current online Buddhist event, the 2021 Deary Academic Seminar Series. Let's get started.A sleepy village called Baranapur, which lies in Jharkhand, Hazaribagh district, has in the past few weeks turned quite famous as the Archaeological Survey of India, or ASI, has discovered a huge Buddhist monastery, which is estimated to be 900 years old. The small village since the discovery of the monastery is now attracting hundreds of people every day who want to behold about a millennium-old Buddhist deities and other historical elements. The site has overnight also become a flourishing source of employment of a large number of people, with several tea shops and juice corners finding their way into the distant village. As per the villagers' account, there are days when the number of visitors even go beyond 5,000. The first archaeological discovery in this region is traced back to about 3 decades ago, in when 1992 veteran environmentalist and tribal arts conservationist Bulu Imam discovered poetry and remains of Buddhist relics and statues in the region. Imam had then estimated the timeline of the Buddhist antiquities discovered by him to a period between 300 BC and the period of the palace, 8th century to 12th centuries AD. Helping to launch a new Sanskrit learning app called Little Guru to celebrate the 71st Foundation Day of the Indian Council of Cultural Relations, ICCR, on 9th April, Professor Wang Bangwai, a renowned scholar of Sanskrit in China, observed that Sanskrit, which lies at the root of Indian culture, also remains popular in China, alongside Buddhism. Little Guru is an interactive gamified app that is designed to make learning Sanskrit easy and enjoyable, said the ICCR, which is working to promote Sanskrit studies among students, religious scholars, Indologists, and historians around the world. The app was launched at the Indian Embassy in Beijing in the presence of the Indian Ambassador to China. Professor Wang Bangwai is the director of Sino-Indian Buddhist Studies at the Institute of Oriental and Indian Studies at Peking University. In Haitong, Shanghai Province, more than 2,300 square meters of Buddhist frescoes are well preserved in the 700-year-old Shutan Temple, thus making widely regarded as one of the most important cultural and artistic collections on the eastern part of Shanghai Tibet Plateau. First built in 1392, the monastery was expanded and renovated several times during the early Ming Dynasty and Qing Dynasty, and a grand temple complex with a rich collection of cultural relics was formed. It was listed as a key national level heritage site in 1982. The temple's architecture and layout were also deeply influenced by the Forbidden City in Beijing, now known as the Palace Museum. A database of the frescoes has been gradually established since 2017, collecting high-definition images and key information about the cultural relics. This is the first time the fresco in Kyutan Temple have been recorded in a comprehensive and accurate way. Current digitized recordings have covered 14 halls in the temple. Detailed surveying, data mapping, and recording the current states of the frescoes are also included in the database. Other than paintings, the database has also expanded to record some stone relics housed in the temple, including the stele and cornerstones. Leading researcher of the project says the team will soon focus on creating digitized recordings of ceilings, beams, and other movable artifacts in the temple. 5 Buddhist magazines for stressful times. Lion's Roar. Lion's Roar is the most prestigious publication on this list. It features articles from heavyweight Buddhist teachers such as Thich Nhat Hanh, and even the Dalai Lama. With just as many secular readers as religious ones, Lion's Roar is an excellent site to jump into if your Buddhist knowledge is limited. The website is divided into sections based on meditation, Buddhist culture, and miscellaneous articles from Buddhist teachers of varying sects. Tricycle. Tricycle is a Buddhist publication with the most content available and largest publication overall. It offers articles on a wider range of subjects than any other publication on this list, including articles on movie reviews, Buddhist history, and obituary of Buddhist leaders. Unlike most Buddhist publications, Tricycle also reports on real-world events through the lens of Buddhism with articles on politics and American culture. Mindful. Mindful is in the Buddhist magazine, but it is the epitome of the current mindfulness movement, which deserves a mention. Overall, Mindful isn't that deep of a magazine, focusing primarily on guided meditation and self-help columns. Tiny Buddha. Tiny Buddha is a great blog for those seeking content with a more amateur and grounded feel. Tiny Buddha hosts articles written by a variety of authors who discuss how meditation and Buddhism have influenced their lives and how they use them to overcome their problems. Often, these articles are written on a deeply personal level. Buddha Weekly. Buddha Weekly is an online publication that is explicitly Buddhist. All other publications on this list, while Buddhist, present themselves in a way to be easily accessible to a secular reader. This is not the case with Buddha Weekly, as it dives deeply into the mythology and religiosities of all sects of Buddhism. Dhammaja International Research Institute, in collaboration with University of Cambridge, UK, University of Otago, New Zealand, Oxford Centre for Buddhist Studies, UK, and World Alliance of Buddhists, organized the 2021 Diri Buddhist Academy Seminar Series, starting from 12 April to 28 April 2021. Many notable speakers and outstanding scholars are invited to provide the online lecture via Zoom application for the public, monastic, lay Buddhist, academic, and non-academic audience worldwide. The topic included Buddhism, Hustle and the Void, Entering the Supreme Array, a Mahayana Dharmology for the 21st Century, a re-examination of Devadatta's characters as depicted in the Buddhist scriptures, Asokan inscriptions, a newly discovered biography of the Buddha in Gandhari, nuns and lay women as donors at Sarnath, locating gender, endowments, and autonomy, Buddhist inscriptions from ancient Gandhara, a window of faith, ritual, and patronage, the composition and transmission of early Buddhist texts, the Buddha within an unorthodox idea in Indian Buddhism, untying the bonds of hatred, and the harmony from Dunhuang, Buddhism and filmmaking, challenges and possibilities. This seminar series aims to promote Buddhism and Buddhist studies during the COVID-19 pandemic. It will also offer the audience the light of wisdom and peace that is flourishing in Buddhism and Buddhist studies. Please visit the website worldwideweb.zoom.diri.ac.nz if you wish to join the seminar series or checking Diri official website for the online schedule. On the occasion of this year's Earth Day, 22nd April 2021, Steve Kalilia will be sharing us his own way to cleanse the mind. Let's get started.
like to talk to you today about cleansing the mind to cleanse the world. If we look at meditation, the final state of meditation is to try and reach a state of enlightenment. And it's the highest thing we can actually aspire to. But it's something very, very few people ever reach. Most of us, somewhere along the journey, along the way to do that. There's a saying that knowledge is structured in consciousness. And whatever the state of your consciousness will determine your knowledge, rather than the other way around, that your knowledge actually determines your state of consciousness. So we look at the world today, the major challenges facing humanity are global in nature. Climate change, ever-decreasing biodiversity, full use of the fresh water on the planet, and obviously underpinning all them, overpopulation. So unless we have a world which is basically peaceful, we'll never get the levels of trust, cooperation or inclusiveness necessary to solve those problems. Therefore, for many of us, peace is a prerequisite for the survival of society as we know it in the 21st century. Now that's a statement which is structured in consciousness. Now, how does that relate back to us as individuals, and how does it relate back to us through meditation? So, if we look at meditation, and we're meditating, the idea of meditation really is to free us of attachment. And that's attachment to particularly afflictive emotions. So what happens as we meditate, in the process of the meditation, we start to become less attached. And that gives us a cleaner mind. We start to cleanse the mind. And as we cleanse the mind, that then gives us the ability to be able to see things more clearly. It's said that when you're filled with rage, you're filled with anger, 90% of what you're perceiving is not real. Therefore, the process of meditation and cleansing purifies the mind so that we see it in more of a detached and pure mode. Now, if we can do that, now we're actually starting to change the structure of our consciousness. And with it, the knowledge we perceive will be different. And as the knowledge we perceive is different, so will the course of action which we take. So through your daily practice of meditation, that cleansing of the mind will go towards restructuring your consciousness, which then means you'll be taking the actions to help cleanse the world. I had a conversation at lunch today with a good friend of mine. He works in for one of the biggest fund managers in the world, sort of analysing what stocks they should take. And he's very, very big on ESG, in other words, ethical investment. And he was just describing to me how the energy companies in Australia are now getting all the super or the pension funds withdrawing their money from them on ethical investment lines because they invest in coal-fired power stations. And this is actually affecting the stock price, and it's making them to now start to pivot and rethink their strategy towards more ethical investments such as wind and solar for their electricity generation. This is just one example of how, again, our consciousness, or the structure of our consciousness, or the group, if you like, structure of consciousness, changes the knowledge in which we invest. I think this point, which I've just made on the ethical investments, really important, because what it does, it shows the relationship between our actions and outcomes. So the more we can cleanse our mind, the more likely we are to make ethical investments. The more likely we are to focus on corruption in areas where we think it's important. We're more likely to try and hold our leaders accountable to be creating a better, more safe world. Therefore, as we look at this concept that knowledge is structured in consciousness, it's incredibly important for all of us with our daily meditation practice to keep meditating, because that cleanses our minds. Now, get a better structure of our consciousness, which will then inform our knowledge, which in turn informs our actions around really creating a better planet for us all to live, thrive, and more importantly, survive in.
Thank you very much and rejoice in your merit. And now it's time for the Lord Buddha's Dharma quote. With the divine eye, which is purified and surpasses the human, I saw beings passing away and being reborn, inferior and superior, beautiful and ugly, fortunate and unfortunate, and I understood how beings fare on according to their actions. It's time for us to say goodbye, and please make sure to check out all episodes of our At Brain Side News program on our website, gbnus.com. Have a wonderful week. สวัสดีค่ะ